What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Jake Wyndon. Today we're going to be walking through the first-time home buyer kind of status. There's a couple different definitions. It's not quite as simple as just being a first-time home buyer, never purchasing a house on your own before. So we're going to dive into that. And then I'm going to give you some tips if you do qualify to be a first-time home buyer. Some really good information, so don't go anywhere. If you haven't yet, make sure you click the like and subscribe button below so that you can keep viewing awesome videos like this and, kind of gives us the motivation to keep doing them. So stick around and those tips are coming right up. All right, welcome back. Thanks for sticking around. Let's dive right into this. So it's not as simple as being a first-time home buyer in the sense that you've never bought a home before. There's kind of the reason you want to be a first-time home buyer, the reason why people stress so much about being a first-time home buyer is there's a couple different programs here. Especially in Ontario. I don't know about the rest of the world, so you have to check with your local mortgage rep for kind of clarification on these programs. But here in Ontario, first-time home buyers, they qualify for a couple different programs. One of the main ones is called the Home Buyers Plan. So the Home Buyers Plan allows you to draw penalty-free from your RRSPs, pull out that money to help with, closing costs, down payment, whatever that may be. You can pull that money out of your RSPs tax-free if you are a first-time home buyer. Now, the first-time home buyer plan defines a first-time home buyer is if you or your current spouse or co-applicant has not owned a home or appeared on the title of a mortgage, title of a property for the last 4 years. So it has to be 4 full years that you have not appeared on title and you have not owned or resided in a home yourself. So that's what the Home Buyers Plan says about first-time home buyers. Now, the second program, which is probably the bigger one that people want to take advantage the most as being a first-time home buyer, would be the land transfer tax rebate. So here in Ontario, the government will give you back up to $4,000 on your land transfer tax anywhere in Ontario. It's a little bit higher in Toronto and the GTA. I think it's $44.75. I think the new rulings are that you get back as a first-time home buyer. Now, as per that program, you are only a first-time home buyer if you or your current spouse or co-applicant has never purchased a home anywhere in the world. So that's kind of what I mean by not so cut and dry. So land transfer tax rebate, you've never owned a home before ever in the world. Home buyer plan, if you've gone a 4-year span without owning a home, then you can qualify to pull your RSPs out tax-free. So 2 different first-time home buyer programs, 2 different rulings. So for more clarification on this, don't be shy to reach out. If not to me, your own mortgage agent. So that's kind of how we get to the first-time home buyer status. So now let me share with you some of the tips that I have for you as a first-time home buyer. So the first thing you guys should do is definitely educate yourselves. There's going to be a lot of terms, a lot of language, a lot of lingo that us as mortgage agents use that can be very confusing. So take some time to do some research on the process, the steps, the language, the short forms, the acronyms. I know you're not going to get them all right off the go, but it's going to make your life a little bit easier if you know what your mortgage agent is talking about or your real estate agent is talking about. Especially being a first-time home buyer, things move just at such a furious pace, especially in this market right now. So just being educated in the sense of kind of knowing what the next steps are is just really going to help you in the long run. Secondly, you're going to want to create a budget for yourself. So you and your spouse or, whoever you're buying this home with, you're going to want to sit down and take a look at your, monthly liabilities. Okay. So you're going to have car payments, insurance payments, your subscription services, Netflix, Google Plus, all those things. We don't necessarily, as mortgage agents, look into the subscription side of things. We will dive into your liabilities in the sense of recurring payments, such as a car payment, outstanding credit card debt, outstanding tax amounts, stuff like that, where if you stop paying, the balance would continue to increase. That's what we look into. But you have to be honest with yourself in the sense of, your hobbies. Like, do you have an expensive hobby? Me, myself, my friend Ryan and I, we love to brew our own beer. That's an expensive hobby. Okay. So if you're not willing to give that up in order to afford your mortgage payment, then maybe you need to adjust the amount of house that you want to buy. I might, as a mortgage agent, approve you for, $600,000-$700,000 house, based on your income and the pre-approval process. But that also comes with a price tag of, well over a couple $1,000s. We're talking, $2,500, $3,000, $3,500 a month in a mortgage payment. If you don't put 20% down, then you've got CMHC insurance to worry about. So all those little things add up. So it's real important to sit down and kind of just map out your monthly expenses and how that's going to fit in with your mortgage payment. If you're willing to give up some things to have more of a mortgage, great. If you're not, you don't want to give up your hobbies, then I may approve you for $800,000, but maybe your monthly budget only allows you to comfortably spend, $600,000. So it's not a bad thing to pull back on the mortgage amount if it's going to help you live comfortably, and not have to give up too much stuff, right? Like, nobody wants to be house poor. You got to enjoy your life still. So that's kind of one of the biggest things that you're going to want to do before even looking into any of the processes, is just sit down and create a budget. The next thing, we've done a video on this before, so I won't touch on it too much, but getting pre-approved is just so important, guys. Again, we have another video up here on the channel, so go back if you want to dive more into the pre-approval stage and what that all entails. But just being in such a seller's market right now, as I mentioned before, everything's moving at such a rapid pace. You want to be confident in making that decision to put the offer to purchase on a home. That's really the nuts and bolts of it. Again, we dive into more on the pre-approval process in a previous video, so make sure you check that out before you leave the page. Next thing that's so important is including conditions in your offer to purchase. So there's a couple different conditions that you might have in there. So conditions of finance, conditions of home inspection, or conditions of appraisal. These conditions are going to protect you in the event that something unexpected happens, that the funding can't be advanced. Yes, you've been pre-approved. Yes, all your documents look good, but there's always something lingering in the background that may happen that will force the lender, not force the lender, but the lender might not like the property. We've talked about this before. I think last week we did a video on conditions, so check that out. But the lender might not like the property. They don't have to grant you those funds if they don't feel that what you're paying for that property is of value. A home inspector might find something in the house that was unforeseen. An appraiser might not appraise, the value of the home to be what you're paying for it. So that all those things get looked at after you put an offer to purchase them. So again, if an appraiser sees, something in the house that you missed doing an initial walkthrough, like asbestos or, shoddy framing, or, the roof's leaking or something you don't find during an initial walkthrough with your real estate agent that maybe you missed, these conditions are going to protect you. They're your safety net. Something is to happen where the home isn't what you thought. It gives you an out. It makes sure that you get your deposit back. So don't ever put an offer to purchase in without some sort of conditions in there. Lastly, would be to give yourself enough time for the process. It's not a process that happens overnight, going from the pre-approval process to the closing process. There's a lot of steps in the middle there that take a lot of time. You need income verification, you need T4s, you need job letters, you're buying a condo, you need the status certificate. All these things don't happen overnight. So make sure that there's enough time in there for you to get these documents in order, as well as your money in general. If you're using your RRSPs for your down payment, you got to liquidate those funds before the time comes, because that process doesn't happen overnight. I think you can pull up to $70,000 as a pair, as a couple, out of your RRSPs. They're not just going to let you pull that out, willy-nilly. They're going to ask some questions. So make sure you give yourself enough time to get all kind of your ducks in the row, and make sure you have everything in hand to hand over when the time is due. So again, make sure all your documents are in order, and make sure your down payment, money for closing costs, all that fun stuff is all liquid at the time you need it. So that brings us kind of to the end of my 5 quick tips on being a first-time home buyer. If you have anything else that you can think of that you want to share with our viewers, make sure you leave it in the comments below. And again, as always, if there's a topic that you want covered here on the channel, make sure you drop it in the comment box. If there's a topic here that you want covered on the channel, make sure you drop it in the comment box, and we'll do our best to facilitate. If you haven't done so yet, as always, hit the like and subscribe button and click the notification bell so you don't miss another video. Thanks for tuning in, and we will see you next week. We'll be posting on Friday again, so don't miss it. Again, thanks, and we'll see you in our next video.